going to be May the 25th.
All right, thank you. All defendants, you have an absolute right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Participants, this particular proceeding is being broadcast over the internet as a live stream. It's also being recorded. That means any member of the public can watch this proceeding. Those who receive a signature bond will be reset for the notice to a division judge, and those who receive a surety or a cash bond today will be reset till state purpose on May 25th. Who do we have first at courtroom 2? And it's muted. Have all public defenders had an opportunity to speak with their clients?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, wonderful. Good afternoon.
Position 4, Ms. Greer.
All right. Good afternoon, Ms. Brewer. Your case is 23 CR 002899F. In this case, you're charged with theft by taking. Do you understand your rights today?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Howard, can I have her history?
Third arrest, 2011 theft by receiving, 1998 theft by receiving.
Book.
It was a pretrial recommendation.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Young?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on May 5th, 2023 at 1030 Delta Boulevard in Atlanta. The defendant was working with the contract cleaning service as an employee. The defendant was observed on video surveillance, taking 2 coffee urns and a box of vending machine snacks and placing them inside of her mobile trash can. She then exited the rear of the building and returned with the trash can empty. And the state's recommendations are $2,000 surety bond through pretrial services. Stay away from 1030 Delta Boulevard in Atlanta and the Delta corporate property.
I'm inclined to grant that signature bond through pretrial, Ms. Wills. Is there any objection from the defense?
No objection to the signature bond. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Defendant will receive a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. She's to stay away from that complex building in its entirety, have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons at her condition. Is there anything further? All right. Best of luck to you, Ms. Greer. Don't do that anymore, or stay away from that location. All right. What do we have next?
Position 5, Ms. Holston.
All right, Ms. Holston is 23 CR 002900Y. You're charged with 2 counts of reckless conduct with the offense date of May the 10th. You understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard.
Third arrest, 2019 shoplifting dismissed, 2019 trespass dismissed. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Young.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on May 10th, 2023 at 1991 Dello Street, apartment L3 in Atlanta. Officers were dispatched to the intersection of Dello Drive and Allison Court in reference to abandoned children. The caller had seen 2 small girls walking and took them into custody until the police arrived. The witnesses, Corrine Hooks and Latasha Tarver, stated that they were at the Valero gas station when they saw the 3-year-old and 4-year-old child across the street playing in the wood line close to a busy intersection. They immediately crossed the street and grabbed the children, called 911. The children were unable to point officers to where they lived. However, officers subsequently located a home with the door cracked open. They were notified by the accused via the surveillance system that she was on her way home. She had left them to go to the store. The defendant arrived and she said she left the store that both children were sleeping and she had been watching them through the security cameras. According to Deputy Falk's notes, the defendant pled NOLO on February 11, 2022 for leaving her 4 children ages 7, 4, 2, and 10 months old in the car. Case number for that is 20 COV 000481 and was sentenced by Judge Lau to 12 months probation in a parenting class, to which he completed probation May 5th, 2022. Given the circumstance in this case, the state's recommendations are $10,000 surety, that's $5,000 per count, follow any recommendations from defects, and no unsupervised visitation with the juveniles, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Okay. Ms. Wells?
Thank you, Judge. Ms. Holston is 28 years old. She does have 4 children aged ages 9, 7, 3, and 4. She is originally from Georgia and has completed some college. She is currently employed at Amazon as a warehouse worker. She also owns her own business called Premium Pretty, where she is the business owner. And speaking with Ms. Holston, she was very remorseful and regrets that this took place. I'm unaware whether DFACS is involved in this case. I would ask that if DFACS is involved, that she follow the recommendations of DFACS. However, I would ask that she be allowed to return home and resume care of her children. Ms. Holston did state that she was open to completing a parenting class. However, it might be a bit of a financial burden for her. I would ask for a signature bond. She has very limited income, and she has been recommended for unsecured judicial release. So I would ask the court to follow that recommendation.
All right, defendant will receive a $5,000 surety bond, $2,500 on each count. If defects is involved, she should comply with any defects recommendations. I'm not gonna require that she have supervised visitation at this point. Don't see the necessity of that yet. Additionally, she should have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further?
Nothing
All
from the
right.
state.
All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Holston. That concludes your case at this time. Who do we have next?
Position 9, Ms. Ritchie.
Good afternoon, Ms. Ritchie. Your case is 23 CR 0028887Y. In this case, you're charged with simple battery family violence with the offense date of May the 11th. Do you understand your rights? All right, as his first arrest, we'll go straight to Ms. Bickerstaff.
Yes, good afternoon, Your Honor. This incident occurred May 11th at about 1:30 in the morning at 1160 Johnson Ferry Road in Sandy Springs, Georgia. And this is where the defendant used a butter knife to unlock a bedroom door that Miss Deja Bradbury was in. And when she got into the room, she began yelling at her and stating that Miss Bradbury was loud and annoying. The defendant then grabbed Miss Bradbury by the shirt and threw her against the wall, and then continued to throw her around the room, causing her shirt to rip. The two do live together. The state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness course, no further contact with Miss Bradbury, and to stay away from the incident location, 1160 Johnson Ferry Road, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And I would like to sound for Miss Bradbury if she's on the Zoom call.
Is Ms. Bradbury present and wishes to make a statement at this time? All right, hearing and seeing none. Ms. Holland?
Good afternoon, Judge. Miss Ritchie is 25 years old. She is currently gainfully employed at the White Cap Drive location, Judge. She's been there about 3 years. She makes about $20 an hour. She is a high school graduate. She is not a resident or from Georgia, Judge, but she is from Florida, but she is a resident. As you heard, her name is on the lease as well at the 1160 Johnston Ferry Road. We do hear the state's position of the stay away, Judge, but again, she has nowhere else to go. She does not have additional family who could offer her a place to stay, Judge. So if she were effectively not able to go back to that location, she'd be homeless. So, Your Honor, we'd ask for a one-time escort to see if Miss Deja is still residing at that location. And if she is, Judge, we could understand the stay away, but we would ask that Miss Ritchie be allowed to go back to that location because, Judge, she'd have nowhere else to go. We are asking for that signature bond. We do understand it's her first arrest. Miss Ritchie would definitely like to handle this case, but on the outside. So we are asking for that signature bond, Judge. And just to go over the Ayala factors, she is a resident. We do not believe that she's going to be arrested while out on bond. And we do not believe she's a danger to Miss Deja. She just wants to be able to go back to her home and be able to return back to work, Judge.
All right, defendant will receive a $3,000 SOB through pretrial. She used to take the 1-day anger awareness course and have absolutely no contact with Ms. Bradbury. If Ms. Bradbury resides at the shared location, Defendant must stay away. She can return one time with a member of law enforcement to make that determination. If the alleged victim is still living there, Miss Bradbury must stay away from that location, but she may return if the alleged victim no longer resides there. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons as a condition. Anything further?
No, Judge.
All right. Best of luck to you, ma'am. That concludes your case. What do we have next?
Position 10, Ms. Rushing.
All right, Ms. Rushing, your case is 23 CR 0028888Y. You're charged with battery in this case with the offense date of March 22nd. You understand your rights?
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Howard.
It's a fifth arrest. Last arrest was in December for disorderly conduct, criminal trespass. The open trespass is 22 CR 005-536F. Open case in Cobb for trespass, battery DV. And that other case is open in Clayton, disorderly and trespass. That's it.
Okay, thank you. All right, Ms. Bickerstaff.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred March 22nd, 2023 at Crew Lounge located at 367 Edgewood Avenue. And this is where officers were dispatched to Crew Lounge where they met with the caller and victim in this case, Miss Vanna Nichols, who advised that while inside the lounge, her sister, Miss Kaylin Randall, were who was looking for her, was holding a hookah. She advised security that while they were in their security, was it telling patrons to leave, and her sister continued to walk near the DJ booth while having a hookah in her hand. The female security officer who was on duty, which is the defendant in this case, attempted to take the hookah from Miss Randall, and which resulted in a physical altercation. Miss Nichols, the victim in this case, she walked toward her sister to aid her in the confrontation. Eventually, Miss Nichols and her sister left the establishment, and that is when the two security officers, a male and the defendant, followed the victim and her sister outside the location, and that's where the altercation continued. Our office has seen video footage as well as is alleged in the police report of the defendant punching Miss Nichols several times outside of the establishment, Your Honor. For these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $4,000 surety bond, 1-day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Nichols, to stay away from the incident location, 367 Edgewood Avenue, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond, Your Honor. Our victim advocate was able to speak to Ms. Nichols today, and I believe she's on the Zoom call, so I would like to sound for her.
Okay. And it's alleged that defendant still works at that location?
Yes, as a security officer.
Okay. All right, Ms. Nichols, I see you on the Zoom conference. If you would like to make a statement, this is your opportunity to do so. I would just need you to turn on your camera and raise your right hand. You are not required to make a statement, however. All right, Ms. Helen.
Good afternoon, Judge. Ms. Rushing is 23 years old. As you do hear, that she is currently employed with specifically the company, which is a security services company, AEA, which she's had this employment for the last several months. Recently, she's been working with the location at the Ellenwood location, Judge. She's also currently in school at the University of Talladega in Alabama. She is from Chicago, Judge. However, she's been in Georgia the last 6+ years, Judge. And so I just want to get into the alleged allegations. Even the state mentioned that Ms. Nichols wanted to aid in the confrontation, by gaining the control or power of her sister. These were two patrons who were engaged in a confrontation, as the state has already said, and Miss Rushling wanted to do her job, and we're asking them to move from the DJ booth, which is closer to the back, to the exit. Once those patrons got outside, Miss Nichols actually pepper sprayed Miss Rushling. So Miss Rushling was actually assaulted at her own job, Your Honor, just doing her current job. I do hear those cases, Your Honor. Those cases are currently open, as I've spoken to Miss Rushling about. Again, Judge, I've heard her history, but those cases are still open. With this particular incident, those two individuals were quite violent patrons, and Miss Rushling was trying to do her job. So we're asking this court for a signature bond, no more than $1,500. Again, Judge, if she is ineligible for that signature bond, we're asking for a surety bond of no more than $1,000, Judge.
Okay.
Your Honor, I would just like to add that our office have seen video footage of the defendant punching the victim unprovoked 3 times. The 3rd time caused her to fall to the ground. It is shown in the video that her sister was kind of running away from the victim, and the male security guard had to pull the defendant away from further attacking the sister friend, Your Honor. And again, I would like to sound for Miss Ivana Nichols because she
I found it for her. All right. What's going to happen is the defendant's going to receive a $2,500 surety bond. She's to have no contact with Miss Nichols. She's to stay away from the incident location if she's no longer employed with that security company. If she still works for the security company, she can return to work. Otherwise, she should not just be at that location. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. All right. Ms. Rushing, I know you would like to say something. The best thing for you to do is to speak to Ms. Helen and not make any statements on the record that the state could use against you.
What was that bond again?
2,500. All right. All right. Best of luck to you, ma'am. All right. We'll hear your limited question. What is your question? Is it about the bond itself?
No, ma'am, it was really about the situation, but.
No, don't do that. The state,
Yes, ma'am.
they'll use that against you, okay?
Okay, thank you, Ms. Helen.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Position 12, Ms. Walker.
All right, Ms. Walker, your case is 23 CR 002896C. In this case, you're charged with battery and simple battery with the offense date of May the 10th. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Howard, can I have history?
That's K Walker, right?
Yes.
All right, 4th arrest. Last was 2021, simple assault, family violence. She got the open simple battery in state court, 21 CR 001-492B. I see another simple battery, 21 CR 000-938B. 21 CR 000. Okay, that's the same one. Why they put the same ones on here? 21 CR 006-232B. That's simple battery. That's all I got.
All right, thank you, Ms. Bickerstaff. Please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, this incident occurred yesterday at 642 Cooper Street. And this is where officers arrived and spoke with the defendant, who advised that her and her aunt, Miss Sophia Simmons, were in a verbal dispute. Miss Sophia Simmons advised that she was laying in her bedroom and the defendant barged in and attacked her. Officers did not note any visible injuries. At the time of the incident, Mr. Lonnie Walker was at the location. He tried to break up the fight and the defendant bit his arm, causing a laceration. For these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $6,000 surety bond, $3,000 on each count, 1-day anger awareness, a MHET, no further contact with Miss Sophia Simmons or Mr. Lonnie Walker, as well as a stay away from the incident location, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
All right, I'm gonna sound for Mr. Walker or Mr. Simmons. Are either of them on the Zoom conference? All right, hearing and seeing none. Ms. Allen?
Yes, Judge. Ms. Walker is 22 years old. She currently resides at the 242 Cooper Street location, Judge. When I spoke to Ms. Walker, she is currently has been diagnosed since she was 12 years old of being bipolar, and she had not been taking her current medication, which she's mainly consisted on of Depakote and Risperidol, which she's been taking since she was 12 years old. With this particular incident, Judge, she had lapsed in her medication, and that was some of the reason for this incident, Judge. We're going to ask, and I do hear her history, I do. We're still going to ask for a signature bond of no more than $1,500. If Your Honor feels that she is ineligible for that signature bond, we're asking for a surety bond of no more than $1,000. She will not be able to afford anything. She doesn't have any family helping bond her out. So effectively, a surety bond, Judge, is a no bond for Ms. Walker today. But just to give you some information, Judge, she does do programs with a program called Chris 180. She does have an 11th grade education. She is from Atlanta, Georgia, but she doesn't currently have any children. And as you've heard, most of her family is in Fulton County, Judge. So we are asking for that signature bond. If not, Judge, we'd ask for that surety bond of no more than $1,000.
All right, defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 on each count. She's to have no contact with either of the alleged victims and stay away from the incident location. Additionally, she's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
Yes,
No,
Your Honor. May the defendant continue to take any and all prescribed medications?
Yes, we can put that in the order as well. All right, anything else as it pertains to Ms. Walker's case? All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Walker. That's the end of this hearing for you.
Position 14, Ms. Wilkie.
All right, Ms. Wiki, your case is 23 CR 0028993F. You're charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of May the 10th. You understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard.
What we got? 20 total. Last arrest was back in March for shoplifting. She got an open theft by receiving, 23 SC 185656. Shoplifting and trespass and giving false name. Also possession of a Schedule 2, giving false name out of Douglas County. 2022 theft by taking, 2021 theft by receiving, 2019 simple battery DV conviction, 2019 disorderly conduct conviction, 2016 shoplifting conviction, and 2012 shoplifting conviction.
That's good. Thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred yesterday. It was at the Walmart at 970 Manswell Road in Roswell. This is just where the defendant entered the Walmart despite being issued a criminal trespass warning on the warrant. Has a typo. The warrant says 52923, but that's obviously a typo in the warrant. But a loss prevention specialist spotted the defendant. For these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $500 surety bond and to stay away from that Walmart.
All right, thank you, Ms. Helen.
Yes, Judge. Miss Wilkie is 35 years old today. She is from the Douglas County location. So she is from Georgia, Judge, but I don't believe she'll go to another state or abscond or miss those court dates. She does have a high school diploma, criminal justice, at least some education there, Judge. Again, most of her family's from Douglas County, mom, dad, cousins, and brothers. She's a proud mom of two daughters, two girls, a 5-year-old and a 9-year-old, Judge. With that being said, I talked to Miss Wilkie. She was unaware of the specific distance from a location she had to stay away from. And when I described it to her as 2 football fields, about 200 yards, she then understood. When I spoke to her, she said she didn't go in. She was trying to use an electrical outlet in front of the building. I said, it's about 200 yards. You should not be anywhere near that. So she has a way better understanding, Judge. So I will ask for a signature bond in the same amount of $500. But if you feel that she's ineligible, Judge, I'm going to ask for that surety bond, $500.
All right, defendant will receive a $1,500 signature bond through the jail. She is to stay away from that Walmart on Mansell Road and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons.
Understood, Judge.
Anything further?
No, Judge.
All right, best of luck, Ms. Wilkie. Who do we have next?
Position 15, Ms. Williams.
All right, Ms. Williams, your case is 23 CR 0028991A. You're charged with criminal trespass with the offense date of May the 10th. You understand your rights?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Howard, can I have the history, please?
Third arrest, 2019, petty theft out of California. And 2011 battery, it was diversion, then dismissed.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Bickerstaff.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred yesterday at 4100 Wendell Drive. This is the Homestay Suites Hotel. And this is where officers were in contact with Mr. Gregory Foreman, who advised that the defendant was currently on the property in room 403. Mr. Foreman he later told officers that the defendant was leaving the property. When officers arrived, they saw the defendant outside the front gate. The defendant was issued a criminal trespass warning on May 4th, 2023. The state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond $2,000 signature bond through pretrial services, and to stay away from the 4100 Wendell Drive address, as well as no drugs, alcohol, or weapons while out on bond.
All right, Ms. Helen, I'm inclined to grant her a signature bond through the jail based upon the information before me. Do you have any objection to that?
No, Judge, just to give a little bit, just on behalf of Ms. Williams, she is homeless. Another case, I did explain to her about the 200 yards. She was aware to stay away, but she didn't know she couldn't be at that gate. And I said, for a 200-yard stay away, you shouldn't be able to see the gate. She's completely understanding now, Judge. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Williams, you're gonna follow Ms. Helen's recommendation and absolutely stay away from that hotel location. Defendant will receive a $2,000 SOB through the jail and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, Judge.
All right, best of luck to you, Ms. Williams. That concludes your case. Who do we have next?
Position 2, Mr. Brooks.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Brooks. Your case is 23 CR 0028995J. You're charged with battery with the offense date of April the 1st of 2023. You understand your right? Oh, Ms. Wills has requested a breakout. So can we go to another position? I apologize.
All right.
We're going to, she's requesting breakouts for 2, 3, and 8. So any positions for those?
And Your Honor, I also have a waiver on this.
Oh, on position 2?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, well, he's here. Oh, I think he's gonna be with us. Thank you, Ms.
No,
Wills.
position 1 was the waiver. Mr. Bob.
Okay.
I have a waiver
Okay.
on that one as well.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, let's take those at the end of the calendar, please.
Okay.
Second row. Position 3, Mr. Gardner.
Okay, Mr. Gardner, your case is 23 CR 0028988B. In this case, you're charged with 2 counts of criminal trespass. You understand your rights? All right, Mr. Hart, can I have that history?
20 total, 2020 battery. That appears to be open. 2020 trespass, simple battery dismissed. 2016 probation, failure to appear. 2016 trespass, no load. 2014 simple battery conviction, probation violation. 2011 simple battery interference with government property conviction. And a 2010
That's good.
simple battery DV conviction.
Okay, that's good. Thank you. All right, Mr. Young?
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on May 10th, 2023 at 427 Oliver Street, Northwestern Atlanta. The officer responded to this location in reference to a domestic dispute and spoke with Tremaine Mack. Mack stated the defendant damaged his property and chased him. Mack's 2 phones and purse had been chopped with an axe. The state does have some concerns, given his criminal history shows a pattern of violence and property destruction. both of which are alleged in this case. We have not had any contact with the victim. However, we would ask the court to sound for the victim when appropriate. Our recommendation in this case is a $2,000 total surety bond. That's $1,000 per count. Stay away from 427 Oliver Street, Northwest in Atlanta. No for the contact with Tremaine Mack. No alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and 1 day anger awareness.
All right, I'm sounding for Mr. Mack. All right, hearing and seeing none, Ms. Wills.
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Gardner is 39 years old. He reports that he is residentially challenged, and I have submitted a request for a social worker to visit with him. It is my understanding that he does not reside at that residence, and provided me with a different address that his previous address where he was previously residing. So we have no objection to the stay away. Mr. Gardner is originally from Georgia, and so he does have ties to the community. He does not have any children. He does receive, his only income is disability. And he recently suffered the loss of his pregnant niece, who is 21 years old, which has impacted him greatly. And he would desperately like to attend her funeral if at all possible. I would ask for a signature on bond, given my client's very limited resources. Based on the communications I had with Mr. Gardner, I will also be requesting to determine whether he is eligible for mental health court. So again, I would ask for a signature on bond. And if Your Honor is not so inclined, I would ask for a $500 surety bond. And we also have no objection to no contact with Mr. Mack.
All right, defendant will receive $1,000 split bond, 500 surety, count 1, 500 SOB through the jail for count 2. He is to have no contact with Mr. Mack and stay away from the location on Oliver Street. Is there anything additional? All right, best of luck to you, Mr. Gardner.
Position 6, Mr. Hutchins.
All right, Mr. Hutchins, good afternoon. Your case is 23 CR 002901D. You're charged with theft by taking and criminal trespass and damage to property with the offense date of May the 9th. You understand your rights?
No,
You don't understand your rights?
I said, yeah, ma'am, I do. I understand.
Oh, I do. Okay, thank you.
Oh.
Mr. Howard?
Fifth arrest, last arrest was in January for battery and robbery. Got an open hit and run out of Spalding County. What else we got? Speeding, misdemeanor possession of marijuana in Clayton County, 2022 failure to appear. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Young.
Yes, Your Honor. On May 9th, 2023, law enforcement responded to 120 North Avenue Northwest. This is the NAA North parking deck. The officers were actually patrolling and saw a scooter lying on the ground in the middle of the exit lane. Officers saw that the scooter had a broken locking mechanism and a beeping sensor. The owner, Elias Shakri, if I'm pronouncing that right, the owner of the scooter confirmed that the scooter belonged to him. Cameras in the area captured the victim securing the scooter to the tree, and 30 minutes later, the defendant jerking the scooter away from the tree, breaking the locking mechanism and trying to ride it before realizing he could not, and then abandoning the scooter. On May 10th, the officer observed the defendant, who matched the description on the bolo. The defendant was subsequently admitted that he thought the scooter was a bird scooter. The victim stated that he does not know the defendant and stated that he has not received the scooter back due to it still being in possession of the officer, and he is unable to attend Zoom. The state's recommendation is $1,000 surety. That's $500 on each. Stay away from Georgia Tech property and no further contact with Elias Shakri, no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while on bond.
All right, thank you. Ms. Wells?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Hutchins is 20 years old. He is originally from Atlanta and has family and extended relatives that reside in the area. He has completed some college. He does not have any children. Although he is currently employed, he does offer childcare for one of his younger cousins. In speaking with Mr. Hutchins, he states he had no intent to deprive the owner of his property, which is an element of theft by taking. He was under the understanding that it was indeed a bird scooter. He did not see that the scooter was locked to anything, and he states that he was able to remove it from wherever it was fairly easily, and denies damaging or breaking any property. Once Mr. Hutchins realized it was not a bird scooter, that's when he put the scooter down and left it where it was. He made no attempt to leave with the scooter off of the property or premises. We have no objection to the stay away and no objection to the no contact provision. I would ask for a signature on bond in this case, given what my client has stated, and even what's mentioned and noted in the police report. And if your honor is not so inclined, I would ask for a $500 surety bond. Mr. Hutchins fully intends to attend all court dates and fight this charge.
All right, defendant is going to receive $1,000 split bond, 500 surety for the theft by taking, and 500 SOB through the jail for the criminal trespass. He's to stay away from Georgia Tech in its entirety, and he's to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Additionally, he's to have no contact with alleged victim, last name Shockery. Is there anything further?
No, your honor. Thank you.
All right.
Miss Lady, can I say?
That's judge.
Oh, Judge
Williams.
Williams, my fault. I apologize.
Mhm.
I mean, Judge, but can I get a SOB for the other charge too? Cause I don't have nobody to help me. My
I
grandma,
understand.
my grandmama just paid my bond for what I just got out for, and I really did not. That scooter looked like a bird scooter. It didn't. Nothing was attached to it. Like,
I understand. All right. The
I
ruling
still-
was okay. I gave you SOB for one. All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Hutchins. Who do we have next?
And your honor, I'm sorry, was that through the jail or was that through pretrial?
The split, it goes to the jail.
All right, thank you.
Have a seat. Have a seat. Have a seat. I'll talk to you later. Position 7, Mr. Clicker.
All right, Mr. Clicker, your case is 23 CR 002902Y. You're charged with theft by taking and theft of service with the offense date of May the 10th. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
40 total. Last arrest was 2014 for disorderly conduct. On probation for drug trafficking. In October 2016, they gave him 10 years to serve, 20 years probation for that in COD. 2013 FTA, 2010 possession of meth conviction. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Young?
This incident occurred on May 10th of this year at the Comfort Suites located at 1005 Kingswood Place in Alpharetta. The defendant was observed on video leaning over and taking keys that were sitting on top of the hotel desk, and the keys had access to every lock and room in the hotel. The defendant then slept and stayed in a vacant hotel room that he did not pay for. Also, just to make it aware to the court, he was just released from prison on May 3rd, 2023, 7 days before this incident, from serving 9 of a 30-year sentence out of Cobb County. The state's recommendation in this case is a $2,500 surety bond already set, $1,500 for the theft of services, and $1,000 for theft by taking. The bonds remain in place with no alcohol, drugs, or weapons, and to stay away from the Comfort Suites at that address. And the defendant also has a foreign hold from Dunwoody.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Helen?
Yep, good afternoon, Judge. I do hear the hold in Dunwoody, Judge, and I've spoken to him. That's something he's resolving. So I don't want that hold to prevent him from getting a signature bond today, because that hold shouldn't prevent him. I've spoken to him about that. He's 44 years old today, Judge, and hearing the alleged allegations, Mr. Clicker is homeless. He was just recently released, Judge. He's not currently working. He has received his GED, so he has skill sets. He's able to work. He would like to have the ability to work, Judge. Also, Judge, He does have one child. She's 25 years old, so he is a father. I do hear his history of the cycles, but when I spoke to Mr. Clicker, the first thing he wanted to say to me is that he's willing to participate in a program. He's looking for shelters. He's willing to help himself, but he needs resources. I would like my social worker and to put in a request for a social worker to go out to visit him, possibly give him resources to Gateway Center, because I am asking for a signature bond, no more of $1,000, $500 each. Because again, Judge, it wasn't alleged that he stole anything. He needed a place to stay, unfortunately, Your Honor. So if you feel that he is ineligible for that signature bond, we're asking for a surety bond of no more than $1,500 each, Your Honor. And I still want to have my social worker go down and give him resources.
All right. Defendant will receive $1,000 surety bond, 500 each count, and he is to stay away from that comfort suites. Is there anything further?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Clicker. Who do we have next?
Position 8, Mr. Minor.
All right, Mr. Minor, your case is 23 CR 0028.
Wasn't 2, 3, and 8 the breakout?
That is correct.
I apologize. Can we do another position? Thank you, Mr. Howard.
11, Mr. Walker.
All right, Mr. Walker, your case is 23 CR 002867J. In this case, you're charged with 1 count of obstruction, 1 count of battery family violence, and 1 count of giving a false name with the offense date of May the 6th. Do you understand your right?
Yeah, I understand my right, Your Honor, but I already went to court on the battery.
Okay. Don't say anything yet. Don't say anything yet. All
Yes,
right.
not to interrupt you, Your Honor, you're absolutely correct. I thought we were under the impression of only looking at the giving false name as a misdemeanor. I do believe Mr. Walker did go to court for the other charges.
Yes, Ms.
Is
Ellis,
that correct?
that is correct. We accused the other 2 charges, the first 2 charges yesterday. We're only here for the 3rd one.
Giving a false name?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Ms. Howard, can I have the history?
Yeah, the other day. 29 total. Last arrest was in 2018 for ag assault. He's on probation for robbery out of the cab. 2018, 2010 probation. Excuse me. 2010 DUI and homicide by vehicle conviction. That's it.
Okay. Thank you. Ms. Bickerstaff?
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred May 6, 2023 at 4498 Washington Road. And this is where when officers arrived in response to a domestic dispute at the location, when officers asked the defendant his name, he stated that it was Yusef Lasson. However, his name is Jamal Walker. And in the GCIC database, that is his name, but he does have an alias as Yusef Lasson. For these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $1,000 surety bond, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And yeah, that's all from the state.
All right, Ms. Helen?
Yes, Judge, this is Mr. Walker. We are asking for a signature bond, no more of $500 for the giving false name. Currently, he is employed about $500 to $600 or $700 a week at a chicken plant. He'd like to be able to bond out or be able to keep his job, Judge. So we are asking for that signature bond. He also is educated. He does have his GED from the Savannah prison, Judge. He is from Georgia and currently resides in Decatur. I do not believe he's going to miss any other court dates or abscond to another state. He is a proud father of 3 children, 2 girls, 1 boy, 14-year-old, a 13-year-old, and a 16-year-old. He does have strong family ties in Georgia. Mom is in Clayton County. Dad is in Fulton County. So for this charge, Judge, I am asking for that signature bond. If you feel that he is ineligible, I'm asking for a surety bond, no more of $500, Judge.
All right. Defendant will receive $1,000 signature bond through the jail. Is there anything further?
No, Judge.
Excuse me, but
All right.
what position is this?
11, and we're only doing the giving false name. Apparently, the other positions were previously addressed.
Thank you.
All right. Best of luck to you, sir. Who do we have next?
Position 13, Mr. Weaver.
All right, Mr. Weaver, your case is 23 CR 002889F. In this case, you charged with battery family violence with the offense date of May the 9th. You understand your rights?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Howard.
Weaver, 6 total. Last arrest was back in July, probation violation. You got an open sale of marijuana, possession of a controlled substance, possession of a firearm or knife during the commission, possession of a firearm by convicted felon. 22 CP 206384, disrupting public school and obstruction. 2019 FTA and 2019 sale of marijuana conviction. That's it.
Stuff.
Yes, Your Honor. This incident occurred on May 9th, 2023 at 2176 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway. And this is where the defendant snatched the keys from Miss Nakia Clemens' neck and ripped her shirt off in the process. Their 2-week-old baby was in Miss Clemens' arms during this altercation. The two have lived together for a year. Our victim advocate did speak to Miss Nakia Clemens, who stated they're in a relationship and they share 2 children. And she did confirm the events that were stated in the warrant and that this had never happened before, Your Honor, and that she would like contact with the defendant. However, we did listen to a jail call between the defendant and Ms. Clemens, where Ms. Clemens did state that the defendant could no longer the victim stated that she could no longer allow the defendant to beat her and that she does not want her children to see that type of behavior, Your Honor. For these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $3,000 surety bond, no further contact with Miss Nakia Clemens, 1-day anger awareness course, and to stay away from the 2176 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway. And I would like to sound for Miss Clemens if she's on the Zoom call.
Ms. Clemens, if you're present, would like to make a statement, this is your opportunity. All right. Seeing and hearing none, Ms. Williams.
Judge, I just wanted to make an announcement. This was a conflict case. However, I do not see Ms. McLeod. I'm not sure if she has joined the Zoom.
Oh, I don't see any. There's no conflict. Okay, so Mr. Weaver, what will happen? There's no conflict attorney present. You have a right to an attorney at this proceeding. Because if I do not feel that I can give you a signature bond today, you'll be reset to tomorrow in the hopes that a conflict attorney can appear. I'm sorry, Mr. Howard, very quickly going back to the history, it was 2019 FTA.
Who we on?
We're on the same case. I just need to hear the history again. Last arrest, 2019.
What's the name?
Weaver. Position
Oh.
13.
Last arrest was in July for probation violation.
That's what I thought. Okay. All right. Defendant is going to receive a 20.
There was a 2019 FTA.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim and stay away from the incident location. Should he need to get any items, he can return one time with a member of law enforcement. He will be reset to tomorrow's SEA calendar in the hopes that a conflict attorney will appear and his case can be revisited. All right. Mr. Weaver, I understand you have some concerns. You don't have an attorney present and the state is here listening. I don't want you to say anything to me that they will end up using against you. If you have a very limited question, I can hear it. What is your question?
So my public defender not here. I mean, my attorney not
The public defender's office has a conflict and cannot represent you. When that happens, what happens is there needs to be a specially appointed attorney, and I'm not sure that process has taken place just yet. So what will happen is you're going to be on this same calendar tomorrow. Should you not make that $2,000 bond this evening, and you'll have the opportunity to have an attorney present at this proceeding. Okay.
Okay, so I can't get a signature. I can't get a signature bond because my attorney not here.
No, that's not quite how that works. Okay. All right. I know you have other questions. You'll be entered in for a conflict attorney. All right. Best of luck to you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Your Honor.
Yes.
McLeod wanted all her cases to be heard last.
Okay, so we're now in the breakout cases. Can I please go into a breakout with Ms. Wills, Ms. Bickerstaff. And I believe Mr. Young will need to come as well because he has a couple of the requested.
What about position 17?
Oh, I'm sorry, we can do that one.
Okay.
All right, we can do 17. All right, Mr. Wise, your case is 23 CR 0028928. In this case, you're charged with battery, family violence, and simple battery, family violence, with the offense date of December the 22nd of 2022 and December the 12th. You understand, right?
Yes, I understand.
All right. All right, Mr. Howard.
Fifth arrest, last was 2015, simple battery. And he had a 02 ag assault first offender and a 2000 simple battery conviction. That's it.
Okay, Ms. Bickerstaff.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred December 22nd, 2022 at 3378 Greenbrier Parkway, apartment 3111. And this is where officers arrived and spoke with Latasha Johnson, who is the wife, well, not the wife, but the mother of the defendant's child, who advised that the defendant and their 18-year-old daughter, Ms. Jemiah Wise, was in an altercation. The defendant dropped off Ms. Jemiah Wise, and then they were engaged in an argument. Ms. Wise advised that the defendant mushed her in the face with his hands. And so Ms. Wise did it back to the defendant. And then the defendant spat in his daughter's face. And then the defendant grabbed her arms tightly, causing bruising. And then the defendant left the scene. For these reasons, the state's recommendation is a $6,000 surety bond, $3,000 for each charge, 1 day anger awareness, no further contact with Ms. Jemiah Wise, to stay away from the 3378 Greenbrier Parkway location, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond. And if Ms. Wise is on the Zoom call, I'd like to sound for her.
Ms. Wise, if you're present, this is your opportunity to speak. All right, hearing and seeing none, Ms. Helen.
Yes, Judge. Mr. Wise is 42 years old. He currently is employed for the last 3 years at the DeKalb County Watershed Facility. He has a high school diploma from Mays High School. He also has a certification for a CDL from Atlanta Tech. He is a resident of Georgia, but he does have residency in Florida, Florida, Judge. He's been here in Georgia since '88. So also just mentioning his history, Judge, he's 42. This is his 5th arrest. So I want to point that part out. And then I did hear in his history, I think there was another allegation of maybe a battery, family violence. I do not believe that that is with this alleged person. Judge, Mr. Wise is a father of 3 children, Jemiah, who is 18 years old, Janice, who's 22 years old, and Jari, who's 14 years old, Judge. So he is a working father for 3 people he does provide. In this particular circumstance, I talked to Mr. Wise. Miss Jemiah became very upset, and she herself started the physicality in this argument. Okay, Judge, Mr. Wise was trying to protect himself, get her away from him. He's exiting out the door. He's trying to get Jemiah away from him because he's already dropping her off, Judge. So he's not trying to fight her. He's trying to get away. So that is from that contact, Judge. And when I spoke to Mr. Wise, he does have a location that he can leave and go to because of this allegation. So I want to let the court know he's willing to go to another location for cooling off, even though he's resided at that 337 or that's someone else's location. But also just to highlight, Judge, he's willing to give space. He's not going to go back to that location. But also, Judge, I just want to say he's currently working. If he were not granted what I'm about to ask, Judge, he would effectively lose that employment, Judge. So I am asking for a signature bond of no more than $1,500 on each charge, because again, in his history, this is his 5th arrest. I do not believe any other history is involving any other family member, or not family member, but this particular alleged accuser. And I do not, going to the Ayala factors, I don't believe he's going to get arrested again while out on bond. With with this signature bond, if he's granted it, I don't believe he's going to go back to location. He's not going to have any contact with Jemiah. He doesn't want it. He wants a cooling off period. And Judge, he just wants to go back to work. So I don't think he's going to be a danger to the community. So we are asking for that signature bond of no more than $3,000, broken down $1,500 each, Judge. If you feel that he is ineligible for that, Judge, we're asking for no more than a surety bond for each $1,000 each, Judge, or a $2,000 surety bond.
All right, defendant will receive a $2,000 surety bond, $1,000 each count. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim and stay away from that incident location. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is there anything further?
No, Judge.
Good afternoon, Judge. Who am I putting in the breakout room again?
Oh, 1 second. Is there an announcement at courtroom 2 for position 16?
I was advised that, oh, I'm sorry, that's courtroom 2, I'm sorry.
Well, you can tell us, Ms. Bickerstaff, if you
Yes,
have the
Ms. Booth, let me
information.
know that this is also a conflict case, so.
Is position 16 there?
Yes, we was told by Ms. McLeod that try to have all her cases last. So we can deal with it after the breakout.
Okay,
She's
I
still
hope
trying to come on.
Okay, hopefully that'll.
Judge,
All right.
we have position 1. I did not need a breakout room for position 1, and I have waived his appearance.
Okay. So what about the gentleman position 2 that you wanted to break out and you also gave Ms. Bridgewater a waiver? Are you going to actually ask that he be present or he's already gone?
I don't want to confuse him further. If he's still there, he can attend. I just didn't want to upset him. So
Okay. So let's go into the breakout, please. It will be me, Ms. Wills, Ms. Bickerstaff, Mr. Young, I believe. Is there anyone else that needs to go? Does Ms. Helen need to come as well? Does she have any?
I don't think so, Judge. I'm good.
Okay, that's fine. So, my.
So if she don't come home, just release it. So. Because she does all the conflicts. She asking, to put all
All right, after considering positions 2 and 8 in the breakout and hearing the information that Mr. Brooks, if he is present, is Mr. Brooks still there?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Brooks is going to, Mr. Brooks, I spoke with your attorney in the state in case 23 CR 002895J. You will receive a $2,000 surety bond. Your case will be reset. There are certain evaluations you'll need to undergo. And you are to stay away from the Northside Hospital unless receiving treatment. Additionally, he's to have no drugs, alcohol, or weapons. Is
Okay,
there
how am I going to pay $2,000 and I don't have a debit card? Where am I
Okay.
getting $2,000
Okay,
from?
Mr. Brooks, let's speak with your attorney. She'll assist you, okay? And your case will be, his case will be reset to the 25th calendar.
25th of this month.
Yes.
So when is that? What's today?
Okay. All right, Mr. Brooks, Ms. Wills will give you a further discussion. All right.
Oh, me in jail to the.
All right, as it pertains to Mr. Minor, Mr. Minor's case 23 CR 002886C, in which Mr. Minor is charged with criminal trespass. Mr. Minor will receive a $2,000 surety bond. He will undergo evaluations. He's to have no contact with the alleged victim in that case and stay away from the incident location on Fairburn Road and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. Is there anything further from the state of the defense that pertains to Mr. Minor's case?
Nothing further.
All right, Ms. McLeod's cases. Has Ms. McLeod appeared? I don't see Ms. McLeod.
And Your Honor, I still have position 1, whose appearance I also waived.
All right, well, we can do that one. Hopefully Ms. McLeod will appear by the time we do that. In the case of 23 CR 002894H, Mr. Muhammad Ba is charged with criminal trespass and loitering and prowling with the offense date of February the 21st. Mr. Howard, can I have his history?
21 total. Last arrest was back in March for obstruction. Theft of property, eluding an officer. That was out of Alabama. That appears to be open. He's on probation for some CWAC related charges.
Okay.
2019 FTA, 2017 probation, 2012 FTA and probation.
That's good. I think I understand. I'm sure Mr. Young will fill me in where I do not. Mr. Young, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. This case happened on February 21, 2023 at the South Haven Builders at 5150 Roswell Road in Sandy Springs, where the defendant was observed on video footage loitering and sneaking around the building at the above location at around 10:35 p.m. The next day, a window to the basement of the building had been smashed open. Video footage showed the defendant clearly. The officer used the video and reviewed the law enforcement database. The defendant was a match. The state does have concerns given the fact that he is a multi-state offender with the cycles in Georgia, Nebraska, and Alabama. And he also has 2 cycles that are federal. So the state's recommendation on this case is a $4,200. Let me correct. The bond is set at $4,200 with $3,000 on the criminal trespass and $1,200 on the loitering of property. However, we agreed to reduce it to $1,000 surety, $500 per charge. Stay away from South Haven Builders at that location in Sandy Springs, and behavioral health evaluation and treatment.
Thank you, Judge. And speaking with my client, he is amenable to a $1,000 surety bond. And he has been incarcerated since March. And I would just like the record to reflect that this offense occurred back in February. So he has effectively been incarcerated since that time. But he has no objection to a $1,000 surety bond.
Okay. When was he booked in on this charge? 2 days ago? Okay. Defendant will receive a $1,000 surety bond. And he is to have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons and stay away from the Haven Builders. Let me just be clear first. He was booked in 2 days on this charge, Mr. Young? I want to make sure. Do we know? You're muted.
I believe so, but I can confirm.
I want to make sure we don't have a issue.
Yeah, the calendar states that he was booked in on the 10th of this month. So
That's what
yesterday.
I have. Yep.
And presumably in the Fulton County Jail for a different charge prior to this. Okay. All right, defendant will receive $1,000 surety bond, 500 on each count. Well, you know what? I'm gonna, just out of an abundance of caution, defendant will receive $1,000 signature bond through the jail, 500 on each count. He must stay away from South Haven builders and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons. So I have converted it to SOB through the jail. All right, anything further?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Nothing.
All right. And Ms. McLeod has not yet arrived.
Oh, man, I tried calling her too.
All right, let's start position 16. Mr. Winters. And if she arrives, we'll give her a few minutes afterwards to revisit her cases. But let's go ahead and start, and we can review the calendar and hold for Ms. McLeod. Can we do Mr. Winters, please?
He's here.
Okay, Mr. Winters, your case is 23 CR 002890E. In this case, you're charged with theft by shoplifting and criminal trespass. Do you understand your rights today?
This one.
All right, Mr. Howard, now the history.
10th arrest. Last arrest was in April. Theft by possession of stolen mail. That's open. Douglas County got a possession of a Schedule II controlled substance, possession of drug-related objects, and a shoplifting in Fulton, loitering, prowling, trespass, possession of drug-related objects. On probation for shoplifting in state court, 22 CR 00842A as an apple. 2016 financial transaction card theft conviction. 2016 possession of meth conviction. 2016 failure to appear probation violations, sale of marijuana conviction, and a 2015 entering auto first offense.
Okay. Mr. Winters, what's going to happen is I've listened to your history. I'm going to listen to the state's recommendation. If I do not feel that I can give you a signature bond today, we will reset your case to tomorrow in the hopes that your attorney will appear. Ms. Bickerstaff, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor. So this incident occurred yesterday at Walmart, 970 Manswell Road in Roswell. And this incident started on February 14th, 2023, where the defendant is on surveillance video walking to the self-checkout counter, not paying for the items he had in his cart. And he walked out of Walmart with a plush blanket, gray bedding, protection plan, and a scooter, all totaling to $366.96 without paying for it. When officers arrived and asked Walmart prevention specialists why didn't they call the police, they advised that the defendant ran out before they could. And so on yesterday, officers arrived to that Walmart due to a call from the loss prevention personnel advising that the defendant was on the property. Officers were advised that the defendant had a criminal trespass warning issued to him on October 25th, 2022. With no expiration date. When asked why he was there, the defendant stated that he was waiting on a taxi to come pick him up. So the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond and $1,000 on each charge to stay away from the Walmart on 970 Manswell Road, as well as no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
All right, defendant is going to receive a $2,000 signature bond through the jail. He is it's 1,000 on each count. He is to stay away from that Walmart, absolutely 2 football fields away from that Walmart, and have no alcohol, drugs, or weapons as a condition. Is there anything further, Ms. Bickerstaff?
That's all from the state.
All right, good. Best of luck to you, sir. Don't go back or near that Walmart. We're gonna hold for a few moments for Ms. McLeod in the hopes that she can appear to assist her client. In the meantime, Ms. Holly, will you please review the calendar for us?
Sure, I will. Once again, the reset date for the SAP calendar is May the 25th. Position number 1 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,000. Well, it's reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position number 2, SAP calendar with a $2,000 good bond. Position number 3 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $1,000 split bond. Position 4, reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through pretrial. Position 5 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $5,000 good bond. Position number 6, SAP calendar with a total $1,000 split bond. Position number 7, SAP calendar with a total $1,000. It's not a split. Let me just start over with number 7. Number 7 is reset to the SAP calendar with a total $1,000 good bond. Position 8, reset to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Position 9, reset further notice with a $3,000 SOB through pretrial per judge. Position 10, SAP calendar with a $2,500 good bond. Position 11 is reset further notice with a $1,000 SOB through the jail. Position 12 is going to the SAP calendar with a total $2,000 good bond. Position 13 is being resold tomorrow with a $2,000 good bond. Position 14, reset further notice with a $1,500 SOB through the jail. Position 15 is reset further notice with a $2,000 SOB through the jail. And position 16, reset further notice with a total $2,000 SOB through the jail. Position 17 is going to the SAP calendar with a $2,000 total good bond. Are there any questions, comments, or otherwise so far?
And have we been able to get Ms. McLeod?
I have not heard anything, Judge.
Sir, I see you raising your hand. What's your question? I don't want you to say too much. The state is listening.
It's just a statement, Your Honor.
All right, go.
The mother of my child.
No. I think you're gonna make the state is listening to you. You make
It's a statement. She just had a baby. She just had a baby. She's not working. I was obtaining a job so I can take care of them and help her pay bills. I don't have nobody. We don't have nobody. We all each other got.
I understand.
You don't have nobody at home. Even if I'm not there physically, I still be able to provide for her and my kids.
That might be good.
Okay, thank you. Is that Ms. McLeod by any chance? All right, unfortunately, his case will have to be reset. Phil. Is that Ms. McLeod?
No, ma'am, she's not. I don't see her in the waiting
Calling
room.
the jail, he's waving figures.
Man, can they keep
She's about to log on right now.
Okay. All right, good afternoon, Ms. McLeod.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. I apologize. I just got held up in another courtroom and just
That's
ended.
okay. Have you had a chance to speak with your client?
Mr. Weaver?
Yes, you've spoken with Mr. Weaver?
Yes, Your Honor. I've already spoken with Mr. Weaver.
All right, let's briefly revisit that case. Based upon the information before me at this time, let's begin again. But I had previously set a $2,000 surety bond, and I had reset him to tomorrow's SCA calendar in the hopes that you would appear. but let's revisit it temporarily. Mr. Howard, can you please give us Mr. Weaver's history again for Ms. McLeod's benefit, please? Position 13.
6 total. Last arrest was in July. Probation. You got an open sale of marijuana, possession of a Schedule 1, possession of a knife or a firearm during the commission, possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. 22 CP 206384. Disrupting public school and obstruction. 2019 failure to appear and sale of marijuana conviction.
All right, Ms. Bickerstaff, if you would go ahead and put your recommendation back onto the record.
Yes, the state's recommendation is a $2,000 surety bond. No further contact with Miss Nakia Clemens to stay away from 2176 Donald Lee Hollowell Parkway, a one-day anger awareness course, and no alcohol, drugs, or weapons while out on bond.
All right, and I'm gonna sound again for Ms. Clemens. Is Ms. Clemens present? Okay. All right, Ms. McLeod, please proceed.
Yes, Your Honor, my client is 25 years old. He shares 2 children with Miss Clemens. There is a 1-year-old and a child who's only 3 weeks old. My client is a primary provider. Well, he's a primary caretaker for these 2 children because the agreement that he and Miss Clemens have is that she goes out to work because he's not currently employed and has not been employed for more than a year, that he looks after the children and she goes out to work. What my client tells me, Your Honor, and I have not seen the warrant, is that they were having an argument and somebody may have heard them arguing and may have called the police. The complaining witness did not call the police. And my understanding, I was not able to reach her, Your Honor, but my understanding is that she told them at the time that they were just having an argument and that she doesn't want contact with my client. I can't say, as I said, I was unable to speak with her, Your Honor. My understanding is that my client does not have any convictions on his record for violence, Your Honor, and he's not employed. Therefore, I would ask the court to give him a signature bond so he can get out of jail.
All right, I will amend my bond order such that he receives a $1,500 surety bond. However, the victim is not here and we've not heard from her. So therefore, he is to have no contact with the victim and stay away from that location. He can arrange transport of the children through a third party, and he will be reset to state purpose on the 24th, I believe. The 25th, whereby contact and the amount of this bond can be revisited should he not make it. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Best of luck to you, Mr. Weaver.
Can we still keep him on that calendar, even if he makes one, Your Honor, just so the alleged victim can come on and we can hear the issue of contact, because this is very important. They have a 3-week-old.
I think he's automatically on there, so if you show up on his behalf, Miss Bridgewater, you want to weigh in?
You say keep them on.
No,
for
not
the SAP.
He will automatically be on state out purpose, Ms.
Right, he's automatically there.
Wonderful. I'm glad.
Okay.
All right. Best of luck to you both.
Thank you, Your Honor.
That concludes the entire calendar. We will now be in recess until tomorrow's SCA calendar, I believe. Everyone. Yeah. All right.
Oh, this is my last day before Mother's Day. Here's wishing all of you mothers or hopeful mothers a very happy Mother's Day.
Thank you. I expect my daughter to come into town from California today. So
awesome.
Wonderful.
Oh, and one other thing, if you're not a mother, I'm sure you nurtured somebody along the way.
I hear that.
Mother's Day to you too.
Thank you.
I'm happy to receive all gifts on behalf of
Take care, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Bye-bye.